Let's be real for a second. Have you ever noticed how some people just love to push your boundaries? They interrupt, make passive-aggressive comments, or act as if your time and feelings are disposable, like you're supposed to just smile and let it slide? Not today. If you've had enough of people treating you like that, then this video is for you. Today, we're diving into brutally honest, perhaps even controversial ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool or sacrificing your self-respect. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll have all the tools you need to make it clear exactly where the line is drawn. Let's jump in. Number 1, the silent stare. Let's kick things off with one of my all-time favorite, slightly savage techniques, the silent stare. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really? Just staring? Yes, trust me on this. When someone is being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a calm, long, and completely unbothered stare. Here's why it works. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They want you to get flustered, stammer, or maybe even snap back at them. They want to drag you into their drama, make you question yourself, or make you feel small. But when you just look at them with no words, no expressions, suddenly the power dynamic flips. I get it. This might sound a little passive-aggressive, but hear me out. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't give the reaction they were expecting. When you hold a steady, silent stare, you're sending a powerful message without saying a word. I'm not playing this game with you. It's a way of reclaiming control without even lifting a finger. And sometimes that silent stare is the most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you about a time when this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting, and one guy kept talking over me, cutting me off as if he had a mission to dominate the conversation. You know the type. Loud, overconfident, thinking everyone is there to listen to his wisdom. I tried interjecting. I tried being polite, but he wouldn't stop. So finally, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and held his gaze. No blinking, no expression, just stared at him for 5 solid seconds. I didn't say a word. The tension in the room was palpable. And you know what happened? He got uncomfortable. He stumbled over his words and started looking anywhere but at me. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than words could have ever done, and it didn't just stop his behavior in the moment. After that, he actually started treating me with more respect. It was as if he finally realized that I wasn't someone he could bulldoze. Sometimes you need to show people who you are without saying a word. Let's dig a little deeper, because this isn't just a power move. It's something bigger. When you embrace the silent stare, it's a reminder to both them and yourself that you don't have to dance to anyone else's tune. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction, and you definitely don't have to prove yourself to people who don't recognize your worth. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Too often, when someone disrespects us, we feel the need to defend ourselves, to justify our actions, or worse, to let it slide, thinking we're avoiding conflict. But here's the thing. The silent stare isn't about being aggressive. It's about showing that you're grounded, unbothered, and most importantly, that you don't tolerate disrespect. By not reacting the way they expect, you take control of the situation. And let's face it, that's a beautiful thing. So the next time someone tries to disrespect you, give them the silent stare. Show them that you're not someone who will be rattled by their behavior. And remember, silence can be just as powerful as words. You don't have to engage in the drama. You simply need to remind them that you won't be disrespected. This is just the beginning. Now let's talk about how to follow up on that silent stare without losing your cool. Number 2, the confident walk away. We've all been there. Someone disrespects you, and you feel the urge to lash out. You want to say something back. You want to fight for your dignity. But instead of falling into their trap, sometimes the most powerful move is simply to walk away. The art of the confident walk away is underrated. It's not just about physically removing yourself from a situation. It's about doing it with an air of confidence. You don't need to justify your exit, apologize, or explain. Just walk away, head held high. Like you have better things to do than waste your time on someone who doesn't value your presence. Here's why it works. When you walk away from someone who's disrespected you, you show them that their behavior has no power over you. You're signaling that you're not interested in playing into their drama. You're also teaching them a valuable lesson. Disrespecting you has consequences. You'll leave. And trust me, that will make them think twice the next time they try something similar. Imagine walking away from a heated argument, your back straight, your expression calm. You don't need to yell or argue. Your actions speak louder than any words ever could. The message is clear. I am too important to engage with negativity. The power of silence in a group conversation. One of the most powerful ways to assert yourself without saying a word is by using silence in group conversations. Have you ever noticed how people tend to talk over others in group settings? It's easy to get lost in the shuffle, to feel like you need to raise your voice to be heard. But here's the truth. Sometimes the best way to take control of the conversation is by not speaking at all. Think about it. If someone interrupts you or tries to cut you off instead of fighting for your turn to speak, simply pause. Don't say a word. Let the silence hang in the air for a moment. Let it be uncomfortable. Why does this work? Silence has a way of commanding attention. When you stop speaking, the group will inevitably look at you. And in that brief moment, you've regained control of the situation. They'll realize that you are confident enough to not rush your words or your thoughts. You are calm, composed, and in charge of your space. By the end of this video, you'll have several techniques for asserting yourself in any situation where disrespect is being thrown your way. You'll learn to remain calm, grounded, and unbothered, regardless of what's happening around you. Silence doesn't just have to be passive. It can be one of the most powerful tools in your emotional toolbox. And as you embrace it, you'll start to see just how much power you really have. So remember, the next time someone disrespects you, don't rush to defend yourself. Don't let them drag you into their drama. Instead, embrace the silent stare, walk away confidently, or let the silence do the talking for you. Reclaim your space, reclaim your dignity, and show them that you will not be disrespected. The silent stare is a powerful tool for regaining control in moments of disrespect. But it doesn't stop there. The next step in asserting your boundaries is about being unapologetically in control of your own emotions. It's also about taking responsibility, not only for how you respond, but for how others perceive and treat you. People who are used to disrespecting others often do it without even realizing it. They've never been called out, never faced real consequences for their poor behavior, and that's where you come in. When you give them that silent, deadpan look, it's like you're holding up a mirror to their behavior. Suddenly, they're left alone with their own actions. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like what they see when faced with their own disrespectful behavior. That's why this method is so effective. I've found that this silent stare technique does more than just make the other person back off. It also strengthens your own sense of self-worth. When you stand there silent and still, you're reminding yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type who would nervously laugh off rude comments or try to explain myself whenever someone questioned my choices. But honestly, doing that just drained my energy and made me feel worse. Learning to simply look at someone, to let that silence fill the room without backing down, well, that was a game changer for me. It feels like a small act of defiance, a quiet but powerful declaration of self-respect. So the next time someone's rude, pushing your boundaries, or trying to make you feel small, try the silent stare. Just look at them. Let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it makes them and how empowered it makes you feel. The silent stare says, I respect myself too much to get dragged into your negativity, and that's a message worth sending. Embrace silence as your answer. Now let me share with you another incredibly underrated secret weapon: silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the most powerful responses you can give is no response at all. I know. You might be thinking, isn't silence just passive? Aren't I letting them get away with it? But here's the truth. Silence is far from passive. It's a choice. And sometimes it's the boldest, loudest answer you can give. When someone throws negativity at you, they're trying to pull you into their drama, to make you feel small, defensive, or even guilty. But when you don't engage, when you simply let their words hang in the air without responding, it forces them to sit alone with their own behavior. And that silence, it's deafening. Here's why this works so well. People who disrespect others usually expect a reaction. They want to fight, they want a justification, or they're looking for some kind of validation for their own poor behavior. But silence? Silence says, I'm not giving you my energy. By not engaging, you're keeping control of the conversation and sending the message that you're not here to entertain their disrespect. Sometimes the most powerful way to communicate is by not communicating at all. It's a quiet, subtle reminder that they're not worth your time or words. I remember once being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist making little digs. Those passive-aggressive comments, disguised as jokes, meant to get a rise out of me. One day he said something completely unnecessary about my work, clearly just to provoke me. Normally, I would have tried to explain myself or maybe even fired back with a comment. But this time I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said absolutely nothing. I let his words hang in the air, let the awkward silence fill the space. And you know what happened? He didn't know what to do. He looked at me, then looked down, mumbled something, and moved on. That moment, it was the last time he ever tried pulling that stunt with me. It was like he realized that if I wasn't reacting, there was no power to be gained from his insults. He had nothing left to work with. So, the next time someone disrespects you, don't feel the need to fight back. Don't feel pressured to prove yourself or defend your worth. Instead, embrace the power of silence. Let it speak for you. Let them feel the weight of their own behavior, and watch how quickly they back down when they realize they can't get to you. Number 3, mastering your own emotional response. Silence isn't just a tool for dealing with others. It's also about taking control of your own emotions. When you learn to embrace silence in the face of disrespect, you are reclaiming control over how you feel, and that's incredibly empowering. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to get caught up in the emotional whirlwind they try to create. We've all been there, right? Someone makes a rude comment or challenges us, and suddenly we feel defensive, angry, or even hurt. But here's the thing. You don't have to let their actions dictate your emotional response. You can choose how you react, or in many cases, choose not to react at all. By mastering your emotional response, you're telling the world and yourself that you are in control of how you feel. And that's where true power lies. You see, people who disrespect others are often looking for one thing: a reaction. They want to get under your skin, make you feel small, or provoke a response. But when you don't give them that satisfaction, when you remain calm and unaffected, you're sending a much stronger message. You're saying, I'm not your emotional punching bag. I choose how I feel. And when you embrace that, it becomes easier and easier to handle disrespect. You start to realize that their words or actions can't shake you. You start to understand that their disrespect is a reflection of them, not you. By now, you should have a better understanding of the tools at your disposal when it comes to dealing with disrespect. The silent stare, the power of silence, and mastering your own emotional responses, these are just the beginning of creating the boundaries you deserve. Remember, disrespect is not something you need to tolerate. You don't have to engage. You don't have to explain yourself. And most importantly, you don't have to allow anyone to make you feel small. So the next time someone crosses a line, don't react the way they expect. Don't give them the power. Instead, embrace your silence, stand firm in your boundaries, and remind them that you will not be disrespected. As we've seen, silence is a powerful tool for reclaiming your peace and standing up for yourself without saying a word. But it doesn't stop at just staying quiet. Sometimes silence speaks volumes. The deeper lesson here is that when you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're telling the world that you value your peace more than their opinion of you. And let me tell you, that's not just empowering, it's revolutionary. So often we feel pressured to respond, to explain ourselves, to defend our choices or prove our worth to people who, frankly, have no interest in respecting us. But when you embrace silence, you're refusing to play by their rules. You're taking a stand without lifting a finger. You're showing them that their disrespect doesn't deserve your energy or attention. It's about reclaiming your space and your peace. Silence isn't just about controlling a situation. It's about protecting your energy. Think of it as a filter that keeps your peace intact by blocking out all the negativity that others try to project onto you. The moment you stop feeling the need to respond to every rude comment, every passive-aggressive jab, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world, and you start living on your own terms. Now I'll be real with you. Learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I'd look weak or passive. But over time, I started noticing something interesting. Every time I responded to people who disrespected me, I ended up drained and frustrated. But when I held my tongue, when I let their comments pass by like white noise, I realized I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. It was like I was taking back a piece of my power every time I chose silence over reaction. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, just pause. Take a deep breath. Look them in the eye and say nothing. Let your silence speak for itself. You might be surprised by how uncomfortable they get and how freeing it feels for you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement of all. Number 4, stop explaining your choices. All right, this one's going to hit home for a lot of us. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously, how many times have you made a decision for yourself only for someone to immediately start questioning it? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why did you take that job? People seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything we do. But here's the honest truth. They're not. Your choices are yours to make, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. Now, I know this might sound controversial to some, but let's face it. When someone is questioning your choices, they're not always trying to understand. More often than not, they're trying to judge. They want to poke holes in your decisions, make you doubt yourself, or feel better about their own decisions by making you second-guess yours. You don't have to play along with that. When you stop explaining yourself, you're reclaiming your autonomy. You're showing them that your life isn't up for debate, and that's a powerful message to send. Let's dig a little deeper into why people feel so entitled to an explanation in the first place. When people question your choices, it's often because your decision challenges their view of the world. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too scared to take, or perhaps you're stepping out of the norm that they find so comfortable. Your independence or willingness to do things differently can make them uncomfortable, and asking you to explain is their way of trying to force you back into their comfort zone. But here's the kicker. Just because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're responsible for reassuring them. Your life is not a public service announcement. You don't have to justify your choices to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch careers, moving from a safe, predictable job into something completely different. The number of people who questioned me, asked me why I would leave something so stable, was overwhelming. But the truth was, I wasn't living for them. I was living for me. I wasn't asking for permission to chase my passion. I was choosing the life I wanted, not the one other people thought I should have. And honestly, that's the kind of freedom you get when you stop explaining yourself to others. You start living on your own terms, not according to the rules someone else has set for you. Own your decisions without apology. Now let's talk about taking ownership of your decisions. It's about owning your choices and standing firm in them without apology. How often do we feel the need to apologize for the things we want or the path we've chosen? Why do we do that? Why do we feel the need to say sorry for simply being ourselves? The truth is, you don't owe anyone an apology for living the life you've chosen. Your decisions are a reflection of who you are and what you value, and no one has the right to make you feel bad about that. Owning your choices means standing tall, fully aware of the reasons behind your decisions, and not allowing anyone to make you feel inferior for them. Imagine this. When you own your decisions, you not only gain respect from others, but more importantly, you gain respect from yourself. You begin to trust yourself more, knowing that every choice you make comes from a place of self-awareness and confidence. You begin to see your life as your own, free from the judgment of others. Let's take a moment to reflect. How many times have you apologized for something you truly wanted or believed in, just to make someone else feel more comfortable? How many times have you second-guessed yourself just to fit in or avoid conflict? It's time to stop doing that. It's time to stand firm in your decisions and stop asking for permission to live the life you desire. I'll tell you something that might sound harsh, but it's true. People who disrespect your choices or make you feel guilty about them are not your problem. You are your own responsibility. Your choices are yours alone to make, and you have every right to pursue the life you've decided on without seeking validation from anyone else. So here's the bottom line. Own your decisions. Stop apologizing for who you are and what you want, and stop allowing anyone to make you feel less than for following your own path. The next time someone questions your choices or tries to make you explain yourself, remember this. Your life is yours to live. No one else gets to dictate your worth. You don't have to justify your actions. You don't have to defend yourself. And you certainly don't need to explain your decisions. Just stand firm, embrace your silence when needed, and continue moving forward. Because your life, your choices, and your peace are yours to own. Let's be real. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If someone is consistently disrespecting you, one of the healthiest things you can do is create some distance between you and them. This doesn't mean you hate them or that you're being dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your peace. Keeping your distance isn't about being rude or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and how you spend your time and energy. Imagine your life as a limited access club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. So when someone is constantly crossing your boundaries, making you feel small, or just radiating negativity, it's okay to ask yourself, why should I continue to give them access to my inner world? Number 5, the power of setting boundaries. Here's the thing about boundaries. They're not just something you set with other people. They're something you set for yourself. And when you start protecting your space, whether emotionally, physically, or mentally, you take control of your life. But let's be honest, setting boundaries can be hard, especially when it feels like you're letting someone down. We're often taught to please others, to make sure everyone is happy, and to avoid conflict. But here's the harsh truth. Constantly giving people access to your life, your energy, and your emotions, especially those who don't respect you, isn't doing anyone any favors. When you create distance, you're saying, I respect myself too much to let you continually drain me. And when you set boundaries, whether it's with a friend, a colleague, or even a family member, it shows them that you are serious about protecting your mental and emotional health. You don't need to make excuses. You don't need to justify yourself. The mere act of creating distance speaks volumes. Here's why it works. People often respect boundaries when they're clearly communicated, but more importantly, when they're enforced consistently. When you allow someone to overstep your boundaries once, they may see it as an invitation to do it again. But when you consistently enforce those boundaries, it sends a powerful message. I will not tolerate being disrespected. It's a clear sign that you are in charge of your own life, and you won't let anyone take away your peace. The freedom of letting go, sometimes the best thing you can do for your peace is to walk away from toxic relationships. I know this sounds like an extreme move, but think about it. How much energy do you waste on people who don't care about your well-being? These are the people who constantly cross your boundaries, who make you feel less than, and who are always draining your energy without ever offering anything meaningful in return. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up on them. It means you're giving up on the idea that they have the right to hold space in your life. And here's the thing. Letting go is a form of self-care. When you remove toxic people from your life, you make room for those who truly respect and appreciate you. You create space for relationships that are built on mutual respect, support, and love. The energy you once spent trying to please or tolerate someone who disrespected you can now be invested in things that make you happy and fulfilled. Whether it's nurturing healthy relationships, working on your passions, or simply enjoying time with yourself, letting go is one of the most powerful things you can do to reclaim your happiness. Recognizing the signs of disrespect. We all know that feeling when someone disrespects us, whether it's through words, actions, or a general lack of consideration. But what happens when we ignore these signs? What happens when we keep accepting behavior that makes us feel uncomfortable, small, or disrespected? Here's a reality check. You don't need to tolerate disrespect. It's crucial to recognize when someone is overstepping their boundaries. When people talk over you, dismiss your feelings, or make you feel inferior, it's a sign that they don't respect you. But here's the kicker. It's not about what they do, it's about how you respond to it. When you continue to tolerate this behavior without setting boundaries or creating distance, you're telling them that their disrespect is acceptable. But when you choose to distance yourself from them, you're making it clear that their behavior will no longer be tolerated. And that's a game changer. The importance of self-respect. At the end of the day, self-respect is everything. When you respect yourself, you don't allow others to walk all over you. You don't let people take advantage of your kindness, your time, or your energy. You set boundaries, you create space, and you live life on your own terms. Self-respect is the foundation for everything else. When you respect yourself, you attract people who also respect you. You attract opportunities that align with your values, and you attract peace of mind because you've learned to protect your mental, emotional, and physical space. Think about the people you surround yourself with. Are they people who build you up, who respect your boundaries, and who genuinely care about your well-being? Or are they the type of people who drain your energy, make you feel small, or constantly test your patience? If it's the latter, it's time to make a change. It's time to set boundaries and create distance. It's time to stop giving toxic people access to your life. A new approach to healthy relationships. One of the best things you can do for yourself is to start cultivating relationships that are healthy, nurturing, and respectful. But in order to do that, you must first set boundaries and stop tolerating behavior that doesn't serve you. Healthy relationships are built on respect, trust, and communication. They don't involve constant power struggles or attempts to manipulate each other. When you start distancing yourself from toxic relationships, you make room for these healthier connections to flourish. You start surrounding yourself with people who support you, who encourage you to grow, and who value your boundaries. Here's the beauty of it. When you set healthy boundaries, you create a space where true connection can thrive. You start to attract the kind of relationships that bring out the best in you, relationships that are grounded in mutual respect and understanding. So if you've been letting toxic people control your space, it's time to change that. Start by setting boundaries, embracing the power of silence, and creating the space you deserve. Remember, your life is yours to live, and you don't have to tolerate anything or anyone that drains your energy or disrespects your peace. Think about this. Why would you keep people close who consistently disrespect you? It's okay to step back. In fact, it's crucial. Distance can give you the clarity to see things as they really are, free from the fog of emotional manipulation, guilt, or pressure. When you keep people who disrespect you close, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional buffet where they take, criticize, and judge as much as they want, all the while leaving you drained and exhausted. And then we wonder why we feel anxious, frustrated, and emotionally depleted. Giving yourself space from these people is not just a choice, it's an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for those who genuinely respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt around distancing yourself can be incredibly liberating. You are not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your orbit. I want to share a personal story to illustrate this. I once had a friend who would always find a way to make snide comments about every choice I made, my career, my relationships, even my taste in music. At first I thought, well, that's just how they are. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I kept them around, kept trying to brush it off, thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. But over time, those little jabs started getting under my skin. I realized I was walking on eggshells, always bracing myself for the next criticism, the next joke that felt more like a punch than a laugh. One day, I decided to try something different. I didn't make a big announcement or call them out. I just started limiting my time with them. Instead of seeing them every week, I'd see them maybe once a month. And guess what? I felt lighter. I felt freer. And in that space, I realized just how toxic that friendship had become. Distancing myself gave me the mental clarity to see that I deserved better friends. Friends who would build me up instead of tearing me down. Here's the thing. Some people are going to tell you that keeping your distance is selfish. They might say, but they're family, or you've been friends for years. It can feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little taboo, to admit that someone you know well just isn't good for you. Society tells us to be loyal, forgiving, and nice. But at what cost? Here's a little secret. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or their constant source of validation. Sometimes the best way to show someone that you've had enough is simply by stepping back. Here's where it gets deep. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't have to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you put a little space between yourself and disrespectful people, you're making a statement that your well-being comes first. And that's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also gives you the opportunity to focus on the relationships that truly matter. The ones that genuinely uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend around people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you spend around those who tear you down, the less room they have to impact your thoughts, your mood, and your life. I used to feel so guilty about distancing myself from people, even if they weren't treating me well. I'd think, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm overreacting. But over time, I learned that distancing myself wasn't just about removing negativity. It was about creating space for growth. When I started giving myself permission to distance myself from disrespectful people, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of who I wanted in my life. So here's my challenge to you. Think about the people in your life who constantly drain you, who don't respect your boundaries, or who make you feel less than. Are they truly adding value to your life, or are they simply taking up space? The next time you feel drained or frustrated by someone's behavior, take a step back and ask yourself, what is this relationship costing me? And remember, it's okay to distance yourself from people who don't bring out the best in you. It's not selfish to choose yourself. It's necessary for your mental and emotional well-being. The more you surround yourself with people who uplift you, the more you will thrive. The more you prioritize your own peace, the more you'll find that you're able to fully embrace your life and the people who truly matter. So take that space, set those boundaries, and reclaim your life. You deserve to have the peace, love, and respect you give to others. Here's the thing. When someone disrespects you, their goal is usually to make you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, to lower your eyes, to shrink into yourself. But when you stand tall and hold your head high, you're silently sending a message that says, I know exactly who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me feel less than I am. What's powerful about this? Confidence makes people uncomfortable, especially those who thrive on disrespect. Why? Because they rely on the idea that their words or actions can control you, that they have the power to make you feel small, weak, or inferior. But when you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you literally stand taller and keep your head held high, you're showing them that they don't have the power to bring you down. You become unbreakable. People who thrive on disrespect don't know what to do with that. It throws them off balance and makes them question their own power, not yours. They're used to seeing you react, to seeing you falter or shrink away in the face of their negativity. But when you stand your ground with confidence, they realize that their tactics no longer have any effect on you. Let me tell you a story. I remember being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist throwing little insults my way every time we met. You know the type, always smirking, always making jokes that feel more like an attack than humor. At first, I used to try brushing it off, thinking it wasn't a big deal. But over time, those little jabs started to get under my skin. I found myself dreading being around them, always feeling like I had to defend myself. It was draining. Then one day I decided enough was enough. I was done feeling small. So I showed up with my shoulders back and my head held high. Every time they made one of their little comments, I simply looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on like nothing had happened. And you know what? They actually started backing off. It was like they could sense that their comments weren't reaching me anymore, that I was too far above their nonsense to let it affect me. And suddenly, their power faded. There's something magnetic about holding your head high. It's like a silent force field that says, I'm untouchable. Here's where it gets a little spicy. People who don't respect you often hate seeing you confident. It messes with their worldview. They want to believe that they're above you, that they've got something on you. But when you walk around confidently, it disrupts that narrative. To them, it's almost offensive. Society doesn't always know what to do with people who are unapologetically sure of themselves, especially when they refuse to let negativity define them. And let's be real, that can make you a bit of a target. But here's the thing. Holding your head high isn't about them. It's about you. It's about living as if you're fully aware of your worth, as if you have nothing to prove to anyone. That can feel like a radical act of self-respect. When you hold your head high, you're making a statement about your self-worth. You're declaring that no matter what others say or do, you see yourself as valuable, as deserving of respect, as inherently enough. And here's the deeper message. Self-worth isn't something you earn from others. It's something you claim for yourself. No matter what others think or say, when you walk through life with your head held high, you're walking as if you already have everything you need within you, because you do. Holding your head high is a constant reminder that you're the main character in your own story. No one else's opinion has the right to make you feel less. The more you practice this, the less impact the disrespect of others will have on you. Think about it. When you truly internalize your worth, the criticism of others becomes less powerful. It's like water off a duck's back. People can say whatever they want, but their words will no longer have the power to affect your mood or your peace. Instead of being weighed down by negativity, you'll find yourself walking with a new sense of confidence and freedom. So the next time you encounter disrespect, remember to hold your head high, stand tall, walk confidently. Let your presence speak louder than their words ever could. When you live from a place of self-respect, no one can diminish your worth. You are enough just as you are. And that, my friend, is a lesson that can change your life. There's a profound truth in this. When you walk through life with confidence, you become too secure in who you are to be bothered by others' attempts to knock you down. You'll find yourself so focused on your own path, so secure in your sense of self, that the negativity and criticism from others no longer have the power to touch you. I'll admit, this didn't come naturally to me. I used to be the person who would slouch, avoid eye contact, and shrink myself whenever people were critical or dismissive. It felt safer to disappear, to be invisible, rather than confront the discomfort of someone else's judgment. But over time, I started noticing something. Every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone's negativity seep into my spirit, I felt stronger. It was like I was reminding myself over and over again that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture, it's about mental posture too. It's about walking into every room like you belong there. It's about not shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. When someone makes a snarky comment or tries to belittle you, just let it roll off. Remember, they're not seeing the real you. They're projecting their own insecurities. So why let it bother you? Here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a subtle dig or a full-on insult, don't react. Instead, take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back and keep your head high. Look them straight in the eye as if to say, I see you, but I'm above this. You'll feel a rush of confidence, a sense of peace that comes from knowing that their words hold no power over you. Holding your head high is more than just good posture. It's a powerful silent statement of your self-respect. It says, I know who I am. I value who I am. And nothing you say can change that. Because at the end of the day, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for anyone else's disrespect to stick. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember, you're worth every bit of that confidence. Now let's take this one step further. Life is too short to spend it bending over backwards for people who can't see your value. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, protect your peace, and live life on your terms. People will try to bring you down. They'll test your boundaries, question your choices, and sometimes make you feel like you're not enough. That's just the reality of the world we live in. But here's the thing. You get to decide what energy you let in, and you get to set the standard for how you're treated. The best part, the more you focus on your self-respect, the more you'll attract people who see your worth, people who uplift you instead of dragging you down. It all starts with you owning your power and letting the rest fall into place. When you claim your value and stand firm in your boundaries, you'll notice that the world around you begins to reflect that respect back to you. So hold your head high, embrace the silence when it serves you, and never apologize for walking away from anything or anyone that doesn't serve your peace. Thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this, give it a thumbs up and maybe even hit subscribe for more content on owning your life and building the confidence to thrive. Share this with someone who needs a reminder to stand tall. And hey, drop a comment below if you've got a story about handling disrespect or setting boundaries. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and remember, respect starts with you.